4 Japanese ghost stories, produced and read by Ken Allen Dronsfield. Enjoy the show. Her long black hair. Once upon a time, there was an impoverished samurai living in Kyoto with his wife. A wealthy lord from a distant land invited the samurai to be his vassal. Because it was such an honorable opportunity, he had no choice but to accept it, leaving his wife to wait in poverty at home until he returned. Years later, after dutifully serving his lord, the samurai finally returned to Kyoto. Although his house was in disrepair, his wife was still there to happily welcome him home. Finally reunited, the two spent the entire night talking and laughing together before drifting off to sleep. When the samurai awoke, the warmth he had felt just the night before from having his arms wrapped around his loving wife was no longer there. Instead, he opened his eyes to see that he was only holding a cold skeleton shrouded in her long black hair. The samurai learned that his wife passed away from sadness the summer before, but her skeleton had remained in the house all the while, waiting faithfully for his return. The Tale of Oiwa. Oiwa was a stunningly beautiful young woman who was married to the samurai Aiman, a petty man who only loved her for her head-turning looks. Another woman, Oime, was madly in love with Aiman, and out of jealous rage, she tricked Oiwa into using a cream that was laced with poison. It disfigured Oiwa's face, causing one of her eyes to droop and her hair to fall out without her even noticing. Disgusted with her new appearance, Aiman wished to divorce Oiwa and married Uime. The despicable samurai hired his friend Tuketsu to rape Oiwa so that he would have grounds for divorce. Taketsu was so shocked by Oiwa's appearance, he couldn't follow through with the orders. Instead, he told Oiwa of Aiman's plan and showed Oiwa her own face in the mirror. Seeing her deformed face for the first time, Oiwa was horrified, and she stole Taketsu's sword, killing herself. With her last breath, she cursed Aiman's name. On the night of Aiman's remarriage to Oime, the ghost of the disfigured Oiwa appeared before him. A terrified and guilty Aiman quickly fled from Oiwa, but no matter how far he ran, he couldn't escape her hauntings. After that night, no matter where Aiman looked, even in the very lanterns he used to light his path, he would see Oiwa's face staring back at him. The Woman of the Snow. The Yuki-onna is a kind of snow spirit, a yokai. She usually takes the life of humans who wander into her frozen lands. Sometimes even falling in love. A young man in search of his fortune was passing through the snow-covered mountains when he was caught in a sudden snowstorm and lost his way. Nearly frozen to death, he almost gave up hope when a strange woman, covered in frost, with a face as pale as snow, appeared before him, Ayuki Onna. Because he was still so young, the Yuki Onna took pity on him and guided him to a warm cabin in the woods, saving his life. In exchange for his rescue, however, she made him promise never to tell anyone of their meeting. Years later, the young man met and married a charming girl named Yuki, and they lived happily together for many years. But one day, the young man told his wife about how he was once saved by the mysterious Yuki Onna, breaking his promise. As he revealed his tale to his wife, her face suddenly grew pale and frost began to cover her body. His wife's true identity was the Yuki Onna. The promise broken, she vanished back into the winter's night. The Peony Lantern. One dark night, the samurai Ogiwara spotted an elegant woman carrying a peony lantern wandering through the streets of Edo. For Ogiwara, it was love at first sight. He invited the beautiful woman, Atsuyu, to accompany him home, where they talked, laughed, and enjoyed each other's company. That night, Ogiwara's neighbor, hearing eerie laughter coming from Ogiwara's garden, peeked over the wall. He saw Ogiwara holding not a woman, but a laughing skeleton. The next morning, Ogiwara's neighbor revealed to him what he had seen. Horrified, Ogiwara went seeking advice from the priest at a nearby temple. To his shock, Ogiwara found Atsuyu's grave at the temple. He realized that the woman he had fallen in love just the night before had died long before they had even met. Now that Ogiwara knew the truth, Atsuyu's ghost no longer appeared before him. Even after discovering the truth, Ogiwara missed Atsuyu desperately. After some time, he could no longer bear his sadness and returned to the temple where Atsuyu lay buried. At the temple gates, Atsuyu appeared before him once more. Reaching out her hand, she asked Ogiwara to accompany her home. Without hesitation, Ogiwara took her hand, walking with her into the darkness. After his final visit to the temple, Ogiwara vanished. The priest, concerned, opened Atsuyu's grave. Inside the coffin now lay two bodies, Ogiwara and Atsuyu, together forever. Along with Oiwa and Okiku, Atsuyu is one of the three female ghosts that make up the Nihon Sandai Kadan, or Japan's Big Three Ghost Stories. Thanks for joining.